artificial intelligence is making massive news in the mainstream media, in social media, and all platforms. And you are an expert in AI. In layman terms, what is artificial intelligence?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question to start the discussion, and it's a quite complex topic. But if we want to make people understand in a simplistic way, I would say that it's the ability of for a computer to think and learn like a human. So, and what we are actually talking about here is a computer program or system that has been taught how to think, learn, and solve problems like how we do. So that is what it would do. And these days, with AI, computers can perform tasks as complex as what people would do, including processing languages, understanding different situations, and using data for problem solving, and also to provide and generate more creative content for humans. So there are a wide range of areas where AI has started to play a big role these days.
Yeah, that is fascinating, right? So you can do many tasks that many people can do, but using the AI, you can do it in a more rapid way and very fast. So it is improving almost all aspects of our life and day-to-day activities.
Yeah.
Then the question that common people might ask as we aim to spread this knowledge to general public, why do we need artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence is because it started to play quite a significant impact on our lives, because it just helps people to have a better life. uh, what it means is basically uh, it AI can automate many tasks and free up our time, and humans can basically focus on more important things that they actually care about. um, Imagine the days when during our time of our parents, and there used to be a clerk in the bank who was just job was to enter entries into a book. And some of these uh, jobs, though, have been done by humans probably at their entire lifetime till they retire. And 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 I would always think that how waste of time would it and of human creativity is that a person, his only job is to do entries in a book. And these are the things which AI has automated and kind of freed up more important time, so that the humans could be more creative and do more wonderful things, like building even AI systems itself. And that is one place where I would say I would term that as increasing the efficiency. And then what AI has also done is help people to make good decisions. So what I mean is use data as a basis to providing good decisions, and also provide more let's say better insights and recommendations used on data. So what that is mean me is that the people there would be people would have less wastage, and they would basically choose what they want, and there is less of trial and error. In that way, there is more resources saved. And and more important thing the AI has done is that it has significantly impacted healthcare, finance, and transportation sectors, especially in healthcare, when there is early diagnosis of diseases, and helping doctors or empowering doctors to provide better healthcare. And these are some of the places where it has actually created quite a lot of revolution. And of course, if you take the rural sector in many countries, it means that there would be more efficient farming, there would be improved education to children who don't have access to quality education. And of course, AI also, many of the AI technologies have also helped countries and communities to be more safer, because we have more of this AI technologies to automatically see if there is an intruder into the homes and some of these things. So these have actually helped them to have more safer communities too.
That is fascinating. So it covers almost all aspects of our life and day-to-day activity, taking over the routine tasks, from there to going over to use our skills and knowledge to do more important work rather than routine work, to also safety, healthcare, and security. So now this has been artificial intelligence has been for a long time, but only recently it is making massive news, and almost there are numerous programs. As I told you in the beginning, that in all mainstream media platforms, social media, especially in the open AI chat GPT, which is now anyone can use. So if you can tell something about ChatGPT, that would be very useful for the listeners.
Yeah, indeed. So ChatGPT has kind of brought AI to the masses, I would say. So before it was probably AI was considered something which would only the techies would use it, or there is you won't actually have a direct interaction with the AI directly to get the feedback, but you would always use products or services which have some part of AI embedded into it. But probably ChatGPT is the first such service which each and every human in the globe has access to, and you can interact. So I would say ChatGPT is a special type of AI, and it's like a smart computer program. I would say that can talk and understand and also interact with you in how me and you are interacting. And so what it can do is it can answer questions if you post to it. It can give you advice, and it will also help you with various tasks, like even I would say if you want to cook something and if you give an ingredients, it tries to come up with a recipe for you. So these are many important things which it can do. And if I have to tell you how I would see chat gpt is more like long back in Word, you had a Clippy was one such thing. So yeah, I would say imagine you having a very helpful and very loyal friend inside your phone or a computer that is always ready to listen, irrespective of time, and would assist you with his needs, with your need. So that's what Chat GPT has become. It's Chat GPT is like that friend who is making your life easier by giving you necessary information and also helps you to learn new things and solve problems. So I would say Chat GPT as your newfound friend in your phone or your laptop.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I was just running some prompt. That means like you ask some questions and it can generate meanwhile. So then if the question asked comes, like you mentioned, in olden days, artificial intelligence was, only some privileged one or highly skilled techies could use it. But now the question everyone asks, can I use ChatGPT? Who can use ChatGPT?
Yeah, ChatGPT is basically the free form version is quite uh, easy to use, and anybody in the world can use it. So and they okay, there's a free version and there is a paid version, and the paid version is has a much better model, much better training, but the base model is free to use, and anybody can register in chat gpt webpage, I think so, until now. uh, and then you can start posing questions, and then you get some answers. So it's that easy. So there is no, I don't know, is it chat.openai.com
Yeah,
or something like that. So that's the, yeah, it's chat.openai.com. So that's what it is.
yeah. That is excellent. So there is no limitation, like anyone can use, they can see whether it helps in their problem. So that means there's a massive application and there is no limitation for anyone to use. So then are there some specific application where ChatGPT can be used? Like there may be numerous other application, but ChatGPT can be focused on some specific areas where it can help.
Yeah, I think, well, chat gpt has quite wide applications, but to contextualize our discussion, I would say that how does it help rural rural population, or the people who are underprivileged or don't have access to high quality education, healthcare, and even finance. So how do we empower rural population, and what does it mean for them? So if you want, we want to discuss on this topic, probably I would say that it can significantly impact digital literacy at the village levels. And then if you consider India as such, we have huge amount of regional languages. So language accessibility barrier could be actually removed there. And even if you go to the rural population, the access to quality healthcare is also a problem. And this is also an area where we could have a nice impact. And of course, most of the rural population in the entire world is still agriculture focused, and I'm sure that there is a good amount of impact in that sector also. And if you continue education, employment, women empowerment, and building infrastructure, and also accessibility to government initiatives, and these are some areas probably I feel that ChatGPT can actually play a very significant role and help rural population to have a better life and knowledge, access to knowledge.
Yeah, that is a very important point because one of the challenges in developing countries and maybe everywhere, there's a big gap between the rural and the urban area students. Olden days, it is access to the facility. For example, there was no internet access. There was a lack of electricity. Even some population few decades ago had no access to television. So there's a
Mhm.
big gap to the access of knowledge. And then you have to go through the limited resources. But can this chat GPT or any other AI application can reduce this gap between these rural and urban areas? Because this is something, if this can happen, this will be a great revolution. And how it will help to reduce?
Indeed. So I think that it could drastically. I think the most important information where there is a difference between rural and urban is the access to knowledge. Basically, when me and you probably we were studying engineering or any of our undergraduate degrees, we would see that the outlook of the people coming from rural India and the city students, it was completely different, because it took some time for the children from the rural India to understand all the nuances of what's happening. And then okay, then they come up, they are on par with time. And I think this is where the rural population could benefit, that now they don't have need expensive libraries or expensive books, or very good schools and hospitals which cost uh, millions of dollars or euros or rupees, whatever currency, and to be set up. And they could have everything. All this knowledge is built into an AI, and with this uh, models, you can actually gain access to this, I would say, a huge amount of knowledge. And availability of this knowledge at your palm is probably the biggest, let's say, um, biggest gap we can basically overcome through the AI and also this chat GPT.
In what way you say that, for example, resource-wise, how AI collects all this information, and that is also very exciting. Of course, it's more specialized topic. We can go in the next episode. My main point is that when you talk about rural area, there are restrictions, right? Today, students have access to technology than more than parents or teachers, maybe, in various forms.
Mhm.
So that means there is teachers and parents also have to be used to the technology, and they should also know how to use this effectively, use this so that they can address the challenges they face, maybe from very early days of the students, younger students, children, to also when you go on the later on higher education. So the question is, how can parents, teachers, and students, all of them can use, especially in rural area?
Hmm. I think it's a very good question of how it is helpful for students and teachers, because providing personalized learning experience is something ChatGPT is very good at, and based on what you are asking it and what you would require, it tries to tailor the description in certain way, and what is good for you may not be good for me, how I understand, and maybe I need more examples, and with this you could actually query and get knowledge in different ways, how you want. And if I say, um here, the it helps the personalized students in getting personalized learning experience and helping them acquire new skills for better future. So the first thing what I would say is this accessibility to education. So what chat gpt could do is, it on an affordable device like any smartphone or a community computer, let's say, it doesn't need you to have any supercomputer with expensive rams or something to actually gain knowledge. Any smartphone or any community computers, where you can easily log into this web page and ensure that you get that education which the model has been trained with. So you get the same resources available to you and also to the city students, and it is accessible even with areas where limited physical educational infrastructure. So the amount of infrastructure you need to access this, yeah, is very limited. So in that way it eases the accessibility uh, for people, so you don't need. And the second thing is personalized learning, as we discussed. ChatGPT can adapt its responses based on your needs, your learning styles, and the pace of each student, and thus providing a very customized learning experience which caters to each person's strengths and weaknesses. So I would say this is one of the most important things which could provide. And the third is the curriculum support, sometimes. And the chat gpt can provide explanations, examples, even create some sample exercises in sciences and maths. And using that, you can use them to help students to understand and masters concepts easily, uh, in different ways. So if you don't understand in one way, you can ask, okay, maybe emphasize more on this topic and maybe make it better. So that the chat gpt, okay, chat gpt already also has restrictions, and okay, there's no infinite way of expressing everything, but then it comes up with multiple ways you can do it. So that is very helpful. At least it has helped me quite a lot. Sometimes I do not understand something and I ask it to, can you rephrase this in a different way, or maybe not rephrase the same technical content in a non-technical way. So that is also very useful. And one more thing where it's quite useful is also in language learning. So it can help students to learn new languages. Of course, there are a number of languages which the model has been trained is quite limited, but English is being the biggest one. So it could help you to learn, read, write, and also listen in very different ways, and also understand grammar rules. That is something which can it can help. And one more thing I would say, where for children it's very important, is also career guidance. I think this is something which is missing, and this is comes at a premium cost even to the city children. That because you pay a huge amount of money to get career guidance of what you want to do and what you don't want to do in life. And ChatGPT can provide these career paths, summarize the educational opportunities, help students to make informed decisions and even database decisions to find their career which matches their aspirations. And most important, I think it acts as a virtual tutor. I must say that for a motivation and support, can offer consistent encouragement and support for students when they are low. And this kind of career guidance with motivation and
Mm.
support could play a big role for our students from the rural. And of course, what has helped students will also help teachers. basically the teachers can access the same knowledge and tailor it acts as a medium for them to see how the same level of same technical concepts could be provided in a different way to the students. Yeah, so that is one thing.
Yeah, that is fantastic, and it's fascinating how it can facilitate learning, and in a way, it helps both all people involved, students, teachers, parents, and also learning, lifelong learning.
Indeed.
Uh, yes. And then the next is like, yes, there are so many opportunities, and every technology has a lot of advantages. They also have some limitation. At this stage, what are the limitations of ChatGPT?
Yeah, the chat gpt has I would say that it does, it's not let's say it's not perfect. So there are a
Yeah.
lot of things there. While ChatGPT it has the potential to benefit rural population in various ways, I would say that there are also several limitations which can hinder its widespread use and effectiveness to the rural population. So the first thing is basically, as I said, even though language barrier is something which is which could be considered as a boon, but it's also a limitation because ChatGPT does not support all the regional languages. But so it
Mm.
basically emphasizes more languages of certain population over the others. So that means that we cannot provide the same support for all the population within the country. So in that way, it does it there should be special effort probably from the government to bring these literature from the smaller communities also on the same platform and train these models. And digital literacy, as I said, is also one of the main things. But our in the developing countries, the populations sometimes, and the underdeveloped countries also, the population may have limited digital literacy, so they may not even know how to log into the computer or use a web page. Right, I think these days with the smartphones, a lot of people know how to use YouTube and everything. But then that's a different thing. But then they need to log into the web page, register, and then access this. So there is still a small gap to overcome, although it is not that big. And this could be a challenge to get them. And then the internet connectivity, for example, it's not the same everywhere. And some in of course in the underdeveloped countries, there's still a challenge to get internet connectivity, or the internet connection is very poor. So, and the network coverage is not very good, so that can hinder the seamless adoption of chat gpt, and whereby it reduces its effectiveness and potential reach to different populations in the country. And
Yeah.
third thing, and probably the if I would continue the relevance of content, some
Yes.
content generated by ChatGPT may not be relevant, or sometimes it's hallucinating when it doesn't know. It will not say that it doesn't know, so it gives you an answer which looks correct or complete,
Yeah.
basically. And that is, and when the population doesn't cannot distinguish between what is good and bad, it can also create a lot of disturbances in the society in this case. And
Yeah.
yeah, this or we can also say call this as misinformation is very easy to spread, and especially this misinformation in politics, healthcare, agriculture, and finance could have very devastating effect in the community. So it must be something which has to be taken care.
Yeah, this comes to the point that okay, there are limitations because it's based on the available resources in the internet. It collects. The internet can have highly accurate and correct information. Can also have so ultimately, it also need to be supervised to some extent that to know that the collected information is correct. So there comes the role of those who know how to use it and educate others how to use it effectively. So the effective use, these are the limitations. On the other hand, when, for example, there is a lot of regulation issues may also come, ethical issues come. There comes about the plagiarism when we talk about research. Beyond that, I also want to know your opinion because you are AI expert. when calculators came in 1980s, scientific calculator, there was also someone who opposed that it should not be used by students, not really banned, but used after certain age. So how do you see, do you think that everyone should use ChatGPT, or students should be first allowed only after certain age when you talk about education? But then there is a big disparity between countries to countries. How it will affect?
Indeed. Well, I think anything which is banned would only people would be more curious and are in exploiting how to use it. But I would not say that you ban on certain people or something, but I would say that beyond below a certain age, it has to be more supervised, let's say, access. For example, it's completely okay to use these in an in education environment. For example, when the universities or the schools have access to these devices and the teachers are there to basically see and help them. And I think in such rural environments, the knowledge should somehow pass through the teachers to the students, because at very young age it's not possible for them to understand what is good and what is bad. And until they come of age, I think it's good to have more supervised access,
Yeah, yeah, that's
both
great.
both at home and in the school.
Yeah, that is really important that there is a need for supervision at certain age and how to effectively use this, everything that's available. Before I go to a couple of more questions, how do you see, because when computers came, there was a massive thought in people that the job market will completely disappear. It will create a lot of unemployment. In contrary to that, we have seen that how the modern trend, how ChatGPT will affect for teachers, for example, if it can generate content, it can generate the curriculum and everything, then what is the role of teachers comes, and what about other type of job, creating news, journalist, and many other topics of interest? And how do you say very briefly whether it will affect or will it will help to create more jobs?
Yeah, I think the let's say it's a very valid point that for people to assume that, okay, it seems that the chat gpt can provide or do much better than job than what you do. But I do not, I'm of a thinking that when the technology displaces certain jobs, it just creates new sets of jobs. And I think humans as such, they are not, and let's say, living about humans, I would, let's go to education. Education as such is not something which stops at given point of time, and education is lifelong learning. So the day you stop, you say that you know everything, so the day that's the day you basically die. So that means that your body is no more taking more information, you cannot no more learn. So in that way, the chat gpt is one such technology which comes into your life, and then you as a human being, you adapt, and you come up with new skills of how you could empower yourself. Of course, this is very easier said than that may affect some people or others. And for example, some techie jobs are more significantly impacted, but I would say that it just empowers you to do your job much better. It helps people to be more creative. It just in that way, I see that there are some negative things that it affects, but it just gives you an opportunity to get better and maybe do something different.
Yeah, so maybe it will improve the productivity, make better decision, and it helps the job to make it gives a totally new approach for everything that you do. Excellent. So I want to know from you, how did you came to this the field of artificial intelligence, and how did you end up in this whole research field?
Yeah, so it's, as I said, education is a lifelong learning, and the if you're open to learn new things, then you just adopt and continue to grow. And if you say see my history or path to AI, it's very similar. So a lot of people would be amazed to think that I have been I studied bachelor's in chemical engineering myself with very little. I think C programming is only one thing which I studied in the university. And then when you go on to do your masters, you come across new things which excites you. And then I myself learned myself many things in statistics and other topics in computer science. And then I went on to complete my PhD in the area of information technology, but more in the area of optimization. So, and then over several years, I got exposed to multiple topics of AI, and most of the things were self-taught. And then I kept on doing projects and learning, and here I am as an AI strategist. So as far as you have an open mind, and you have an eagerness to learn new things, I think sky is the limit. So,
Yeah,
and
brilliant. That
the education just gives you enough power and attitude that how to learn. And basically the education doesn't stop in undergraduation, it just continues.
yes, lifelong learning is the most important part in the modern era.
Yeah, and I
So
think this some part of it actually comes from our ethics, or the attitude towards education we have, at least in India. Because like some of it's very common during exams when you tell your parents, oh, I have studied everything, I don't have need to study now. Then the most natural uh, answer, for at least for my parents, was Ganesh, who is probably the person, the god which people worship for education. And they say that he himself is studying until now, and
yes,
it cannot be possible that you have studied everything.
yeah,
So this kind of an attitude has been inculcated in many of the Indians, that even when you say the god himself has been busy reading, and you cannot as a human stop staying that and say that you have studied everything. So this gives you this kind of an attitude of lifelong learning.
yes. That is fantastic, and I fully agree with you. And now, as you explained, that AI has come a long way. It has been improving, and where are we? And do you think that at what stage artificial intelligence can match human intelligence?
Yeah, that's a tricky uh, question. How, at what stage are we? Or can it ever match uh, human intelligence? But I think at least there has been some discussion on this, that has it already matched. But I believe that it has not yet reached the level of human intelligence. I think human intelligence is much more complex, with different cognitive abilities. We have problem solving, reasoning, emotions is something which the software or the AI is still not that good at, and also being self-aware of a lot of things. And humans as such, we perceive different things from the environment, and we consciously or subconsciously processing this information and make decisions. And in that way, it's not AI right now doesn't have access to all this content, and it is little far and from what it is. But as such, if you see from the sustainability point of view, the AIs which you see now, it's consuming enormous amount of let's say electricity. And imagine how much are we consuming as humans to generate the amount of output with the food, and the amount of energy we are using to create similar kind of intelligence and similar types of decision making. So there's still a long way to go. Okay, you cannot consume a lot of power, but I would see that the AI to be more in terms of how to make complex decisions, but still use less of these resources. And there has been a lot of exaggeration about how much power these some of these AI systems use, and which is not very good. And currently, AI also operates in very domain specific manner. So it's very highly specialized in performing certain tasks. But then you need to, and AI technologies like there is machine learning, there is deep learning, and they have shown to be impressive on natural language processing, image processing, playing games. But these AI systems, they lack the ability to understand and process information outside certain domain, and that is something is quite important. And to
Yeah.
reach the level of human intelligence, what we call as the artificial general intelligence, so that refers it refers to an act where AI can actually perform any intellectual task that a human can do. But until now, it has been shown that it's a theoretical concept. But I have recently read a research article where already show the Chat GPT, they believe, has shown first signs of having a artificial general intelligence. So it's not very far. Things can change very early, but at least I think now still we are not there.
Yes, that is very exciting, and we have discussed now a lot of issues, and there are many more to discuss. As it's a general, I think you have enlightened us how this evolving field is already making impact on personal education to healthcare, to performance, security, healthcare, agriculture, and how it will really transform our lives, especially in the rural area, considering how it can bridge the gap. And I think there's a long way to go, and will definitely have to discuss in many episodes. And thank you for joining and enlightening about AI and ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's my privilege to be part of this intellectual series, and I have provided you my bits and pieces of information which I have access to. But hopefully our the rural population, irrespective of any country, would benefit from. I'm sure that they would benefit from AI in the days to come.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.